should be a option they can look at, but I think the primary funding to clean up that landfill should come from the city and county of Sarasota County. And if they can get a grant or several grants to assist them in fulfilling that goal, then that's all well and good. But if not, then I think the money should come from the general revenue of the city and county to clean it up. Because the way they're going now, it'll never get cleaned up. How you feel about that?
Well, if you talk to them, they say they're working on it. Now, by working on it, I mean they've got this idea that they're going to plant some vegetation on there, and evidently it's already there. And then periodically they're going to mow it, and then they're going to dispose of the vegetation as hazardous material. The idea being the plants will leach up the hazardous material, and then they dispose it as hazmat. And they do this a number of times, and it will be miraculously cleaned up. Now, I don't have the science in my back pocket to decide whether this is right or wrong, but if it is right, that would be a good thing. Now, as far as the city funding it, acknowledging that it's a good idea, that it's something that should be done, it falls into the category of a wonderful thing. We still got this 800-pound gorilla of $459 million deficit. So we might not be able to fit that into the budget this year, but I do think they should be doing something on it, and I think they are. I think they're doing this I don't know what they call it. It's
tree building, growing thing.
It's not trees, it's like weeds.
Vegetation.
Yeah, vegetation, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I don't
That's a
know.
bunch of crap.
I don't know how long it would take, but you know what?
It won't be our lifetime. We'll all be dead.
You know what I think they might do? I think they might just wave a magic wand over it and say, "It's done," and then give a building permit on it. You know?
They do it to Walmart, no?
That's what they did out there on Proctor and Clark Road, and that development out there, people out there where Foxfire Golf Course, out there, they did the same basic thing, and people having problems.
Are they?
Yeah.
What kind of problems they having?
Cancer and all kinds
Oh,
of
cancer. Oh, well, yeah, okay.
toxic.
Misty Creek.
Well, they certainly should do some kind of testing. If they're going to claim it's fixed, it's going to have to really be fixed.
You know what, Peter, if we done some public record requests to get the records from the housing, the Don Hansel office concerning that community development block grant money that came into this community for the last 20 years, and wanted to know how the allocation of that money was spent, because it should have been, a lot of it should have been in Newtown, and it hadn't been spent in Newtown. So we wanted to ascertain the information to see where the money went. And if the money wasn't spent where it was intended when it was requested, then the city has to reimburse that money. And it can't come from further grant money. It's going to have to come from the general revenue funds of the city. So they're going to always have a deficit, especially if we ever complete the project that I'm on currently, because I know that it wasn't spent. But if they got to raise taxes, let me ask you, I know this is not a partisan race, but what party affiliation you in?
Well, we're not allowed to tell.
Well, you're not?
But I can tell you that I am not a Democrat. You know what party I'm in. I was in your club.
Okay.
You know what party I'm in?
Yeah, but I wanted you to share that.
All right.
Yeah. But
Once upon a time, Johnny Hunter had a club for black Republicans.
Yes.
And I painted my face black and I came into the...
Yeah.
No, I didn't really paint my face black. I just came.
But let me ask you this, but I do know that, are you moderate or conservative?
I'm definitely to the moderate side, and maybe a little more than that, on some issues. Other issues, I'm conservative.
Okay. Are you, in the presidential election, you know, Mitt Romney got caught with his pants down when he stated about the 47%. He wasn't worried about that. How you feel about that? That 47% that ultimately causes defeat?
If 47% who did not vote for him.
No, 47%. No, they didn't vote for him.
Well, then he was right, wasn't he? 47% didn't vote for him.
No, I don't think he said.
You said Mitt Romney was right.
No, he
Well, no, didn't he come out with about 47%?
He said he was right, that 47% was not his concern. That's what he said.
I thought he said they wouldn't vote for him.
No, he said it wasn't his concern because they were gonna vote for Barack Obama no matter what.
Right.
So I'm not concerned about that 47%.
I don't recall him saying that.
That's the way he said it.
Well, I saw tape myself,
Yeah, well,
and it didn't exactly say that.
Yes,
Yeah,
it did.
he said it like that, Peter.
Just like that.
Did he? Well, anyway, they didn't vote for him. So,
Would you?
He did vote for him.
well, probably not. I mean, if he'd have said that those guys that aren't making under 20,000, they're not gonna vote for me. Well, there I am. I've got $11,000 of Social Security and $5,000 worth of work.
You're in that 47%.
I'm in that 47%, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
So anyway,
Whether you know it or not.
oh no, I know it.
Okay.
Yeah, but so we're all in this together now. Now the question, getting back to it, I think was that are we going to commit tax money to? You did do the you did do this public records request.
Yeah, I did.
And it came back, like you say, that they spent the money on something
Well,
else.
the file was so large that I'm still in the process of getting the information. I mean, they made it available, but it is huge. So we talking the last 20 years. I want to see how the money was spent.
At 25 cents a page.
25 cents a page.
Yeah. Well, if I want, I was able to just go look at it and pick out what I want, and I need a committee to do that because it's so big. I spoke to Mr. Preston there to possibly assist me in 3 or 4 other people because that's a lot of work.
Well, that's an interesting question. And if I were on the commission, I think I could probably get the information for free.
Yes.
Well,
You
it shouldn't be free anyway because it is public information and we paid for it.
Well,
And they got that credit card for $49,995. Like
Yeah,
you
well,
said.
just get one of them guys.
well, can't you get, isn't the 25 cents it's for paper copy?
Yeah, you can get it electronically.
Electronically is
But see,
free.
but in the research, if it become really cumbersome, then you gotta maybe pay them a little bit to do the research. A lot of record requests that I do is real simple stuff.
Getting lost on the question.
And they'll send it to you,
What was the question?
The question was, Peter, we talking about the brownfield.
I
And
know
we
you're
talking
talking about
but the money was coming to clear it up, or clean it up, would have to be, I want taxpayer dollars. If they could get grants, that's well and good, but if they keep playing that game, we're never gonna get it cleaned up. The best deal is that, the best deal on the table was Walmart, and
At least you get
they
the ground
killed
cleaned
that.
up.
Yeah.
They were willing to spend some of their corporate money in connection with the system that the city of Sarasota had given.
Okay, so they haven't done anything over there, and they've spent the money that they got.
They were gonna allocate
As
to
far
Walmart.
as far as you can see, with the amount of research you've been able to do, you can see where they've spent some of the money on something else.
Oh, they have spent a
Yeah,
lot
spent all
of
the
that
money on
money.
something
Yeah.
Because
Well,
nobody never questioned it. See, Sarasota used to be the best kept secret in America. And they do at will what they want because I had one politician tell me, and I'm not gonna call his or her name, saying they could get elected as long as they want to, because they don't need no time to get elected.
Did you raise this question when Mr. Atkins was on the panel?
No, not that particular question, but Fred and I, started out in '85. We was, on the same team a lot, although different political affiliation,
Yeah,
but common denominator.
Yeah.
District 1.
yeah.
And then over the years, we kind of went our separate ways because my philosophy got a little different. His stayed the same, but in answer to your question, no, I did not at that time.
Okay, so
Wasn't even thinking
so
about it.
you did not get any public information from him?
Never requested it.
You requested it. Now, how about Mr. Shaw, Reverend Shaw? Has he come up with any of this? I mean, you did ask him.
Reverend Shaw, let me put my hands on the table. Reverend Shaw is a very big disappointment to this district.
So you didn't ask him, or you asked him and he didn't tell you?
He the reason Walmart now.
He's stonewall. He's stonewall. He is non-responsive. He's not representative of the district in which he was elected for. Although I didn't elect him, I didn't vote for him, but I still reached out to him despite of that, because my main interest and goal is District 1. Yes.
Okay, the questions that you're asking him about these other people, past and present, is, let me tell you what the problem is with all those commissioners down there. They're ignorant, they don't have any knowledge of government, they don't have any budgetary experience. That's why they're screwing up the city, okay? Now, my first part of my question is, I want to know, what kind of experience do you bring that will override that crap down there, okay? And the second question I have is about this sidewalk. See, I think that's a real important question because black people historically have a lot of problems with the police department. And that law has been on the book about spitting on the sidewalk forever. The reason it was not enforceable was because prior to 9/11, you had a federal law that said you needed probable cause. Okay, after 9/11, with the Patriot Act, and just pick up anybody for any damn thing, that's when that crap started being enforced. Now, white people spit on the sidewalks, especially them tobacco chewing son of a guns. Not only do they spit that tobacco out. I guarantee you most of them don't get their car searched. So, if you are a strong proponent that we need to investigate folks that spit on the sidewalk, got an issue with that because that is truly profiling. Now, in an idyllic world, it might sound good, but in the real world, and being black in America, which I doubt if you've ever experienced, ain't a good thing. So, my first question is, what do you bring to the board as far as educational experience, expertise, and budgeting expertise to really be a positive factor on the city commission?
Well, I went to college and graduated. I took some courses after college and completed them. I took,
In what? Most area.
well, my first degree is in social work.
Uh-huh.
My postgraduate work was in marketing and management and mathematics. Then I went to medical school and became an acupuncturist. And then after that, I had to retire when I was 59. I had some accident injuries and it took me a few years to get well. So last year, I took the a six-course series in Linux. And if you would come to my pizza party tonight, you would see the Linux computers. You might have seen it. It was sitting there last time. My idea about the Linux computers is that if the city were to use Linux instead of Windows, they would save $217,000 a year because you pay for Windows and you don't pay for Linux. Linux is free. All the software for Linux is free. And it's, well, come to the party tonight and try it out for yourself. It's just like any other computer you've ever used. You know, you're not going to have a problem using it. It's easy enough. And it's free. Well, if it's free, that's money that the city isn't paying. Well, okay, well, that's my education. And that's where I could save the city $217,000 a year if I could get the other 4 commissioners to go along with it. But if they're, like you say, ignorant, and what was the other ones? Well, whatever you said.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's all right. It's okay to say something and not remember. It's okay to not remember. But anyway, you know, I mean, I still have to convince people who might not understand what I'm talking about. You know, so that's some money. Now, I'm kind of interested in this brownfield. As a matter of fact, on my website, a 3 years ago, I posted an article about the brownfield, and you may have read it. Have you?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, you look at my website, and you can even find. I'll give you all my card, and the web address is on here. Just pass this around. Yeah, and it's back in the archives. It's not up in the current stuff. The brownfield article, but yeah. Everybody got one?
No.
She got one, I'll give her.
Oh well, now you're. Y'all got one now?
She said, you got one?
I got
She
one.
said she had.
Oh, all right. But if you look on my website, you'll see some of my thinking about the brownfield, and I like the idea of getting grants because right now it's the only money we've got, unless you want to raise taxes. But no politician can say that until after he's elected.
Well, you know, let me say that because we're going to have to wrap this up.
Oh, all right.
In my 27 years of being in the newspaper business and stuff, dealing with politics, no politician can do what they said they're going to do when they're running. None of them. I already know that when they say that stuff. Because when they get in the chambers and stuff, it's a whole different ball game. And the only time they can exactly do something that they say they can do, that they exclusively have the right without anybody else's system, they getting it done. So like the president can write certain executive orders, or the governor can write executive orders. But when it comes to county government, city or county, they just be talking. And the Congress people too. They can't do this stuff. They say that and get elected, but when they get there, it's a new ball game. As they said in church this past Sunday night, they flipped the script. The script has been flipped.
I can't imagine you being a pessimist, Johnny Hunter.
I'm not, but I'm just real stuff.
Okay.
You know, and not to pick on your party, but jobs has always been the main topic of our economy, from Tea Party involvement all the way to today. But our governor shut down a $2.2 billion jobs project. That money belonged to the state of Florida, and he kicked those jobs out of the country, out of the state, and gave them to other states. Now, it's good to campaign on that, but so did the governor. He promised $700,000 in his first term. Well, how can you promise jobs if your main thing is to not create jobs?
Did I promise jobs? Mm-hmm. No, I said we need jobs. I want to start a conversation about that because everybody promises jobs, but what they do is they say they're going to make jobs. All these developments, well, we need to make sure that they're jobs for the people here, not for people from somewhere else, which is what they always do. Now, there's something called e-check. So in other words, a guy comes up, you can find out if he actually lives in the state or in the city or in the country. And we can insist on that, you know, if we're paying for jobs to be done. And that's what I would advocate, because so many of it is, well, it doesn't come out the way they say it will. It just, as Johnny just said. And so, although I think it comes out right sometimes, it just doesn't come out right every time. So it's not a magic bullet, but it's something that I'm addressed to, and I want to talk about, not just now, but once I'm there. It's going to be the question I'm going to raise, and some others have raised this question too. Who's getting the jobs? Do they live here? That's a question. Or are these even really any jobs? You know what? The government will give money to a company who says they're going to create jobs. They give them money. They don't go back and check to see if they created the jobs. They just assume they did. They were chalk it up as a success. The guy took it home, took the money home, and he didn't even hire another secretary. He just took the money home and put it in his pocket. And so when you're doing this, when you're bribing corporations to create jobs, you have to make sure they actually do it. Otherwise, the Herald Tribune got that nice big building, government money. They rented out one floor of it. Ooh, how many articles did you write about that, Johnny?
But, at any rate, yeah, you're right. It's a whole,
Well, my major concern is on jobs. Are you an advocate of the Newtown community job development?
Depends on what they're doing. If they start a gambling joint, I don't know if I agree with that or not. It'd be a lot of jobs. You know, there's a dealer for every table. How much does the dealer get paid though? Was he working for tips? I don't know. I don't go into places like that, so I don't know. But some jobs aren't what you want. But in general, yes, it would be nice to have jobs. It'd be nice to. I wonder if you can develop a tourist industry attraction in Newtown.
Sure you could.
I think you could.
it's,
I think you could.
and you know another problem right quick, when I watched the television one time, morning news, and they do the neighborhood forecast, they have every neighborhood